All right, it's time for long division again. Yes, we're going to review long division, regular long division, still single digit divisors, but we're also going to throw in decimals, division with decimals. So let's get started. All right, let's look at a simple problem here. 3,822 divided by 7. Remember, does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers? Divide, multiply, subtract, check and bring down the next number. Okay, same steps. 7 does not go into 3, but 7 goes into 38 5 times. 7 times 5 is 35. I then subtract. 8 minus 5 is 3. 3 minus 3 is 0. The 3, checking, is less than 7, so I can bring down my next number. 7 goes into 32. Doesn't go 5 times. That's 35. So it goes in 4 times. 4 times 7 is 28. Subtract. I have to borrow. 12 minus 8 is 4. 2 minus 2 is 0. The 4 is less than 7, so I'm ready to bring down my last number, which is a 2. 7 goes into 42 6 times. 6 times 7 is 42. Subtract and get 0. All right. Simple division, long division. I get 0 at the end, which means I know I'm done and I have no remainder. Okay, we're also going to get into some remainders today. All right. Look at page 298 in your book. Okay, I've highlighted the problem here. It's right here. Whoops. Except if I mark on it, won't move it. Right, there it is. Problem number 1. A farmer has 2,106 cows and 9 barns. If the farmer divides the cows into equal groups, how many cows will he put into each barn? Okay. Question back up here in the corner out of the way. So we want to take the total number of cows, which is 2,106 cows, and split them evenly as possible into 9 barns. So that problem will be 2,106 cows. Divide those cows into 9 groups, which happen to be barns. Okay? Now, 9 does not fit into 2, but 9 fits into 21. 2 times 9 is 18. Subtract. Got to borrow here. 11 minus 8 is 3. All right, I want you to pause your video, take the rest of this problem to the end, finish solving this problem, and I'll come back and check your answer with you. All right, let's see where we are now. We are at a check stage. 3 is smaller than 9, so I can bring down my next number, 0. 9 goes into 30. How many times? Well, 9 times 3 is 27. It's as close as I'm going to get. 9 times 3 is 27. Subtract, I get 3. 3 is less than 9, so I bring down the 6. 9 goes into 36. My new number at the bottom, 4 times. 4 times 9 is 36. 0 left over, which means the question is how many cows will he put in each barn? He will put 234 cows in each barn. All right. Let's do another one here. Number 2 says a sidewalk covers 3,372 square feet. If the sidewalk is 4 feet wide, what is the length? So we've got the total area. We've got one of the dimensions. We need to find the other dimension, so we divide. Okay, so the problem we're going to set up here is 3,372 square feet divided by the one dimension 4 feet wide, which will give us the other dimension. How long is this sidewalk? All right. I'm going to let you do this whole problem by yourself from scratch, so pause your video, complete this problem, come back when you are done. All right. If you're not done, make sure you pause your video and finish first, and let's get started. 4 does not fit into 3. But 4 fits into 33. Let's see, 4 times 7 is 28. 4 times 8 is 32. That's going to be really close. 4 times 8 is 32. Subtract. 3 minus 2 is 1. 3 minus 3 is 0. 1 is less than 4. I can bring down the next number, 7. 4 goes into 17 how many times? Well, 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 4 is 16. I subtract, I get 1. 1 is less than 4. Bring down the next number, which is a 2. 4 goes into 12 how many times? 3 times. 3 times 4 we know is exactly 12. And we know that the length of the sidewalk is 843 feet. All right. Hopefully long division, after practicing it last week a little bit and not coming back to it today, will be fresh. You'll get some homework, practice on your homework. Let's move on here. Turn in your books to page 298. 298. If you need to pause your video to get there, go ahead and do so. But 298, if you're not already there. Now we're going to talk about remainders. This problem might seem unfinished. The leftover number at the bottom is called the remainder. Okay, so we have remainders. The number down here, 2. 2 is what's left over. Okay? We write that answer as 567. There's the answer up top. 567, remainder 2. What's left over? If you're leaving your answer with remainders, or you have something left over, you write it as a remainder. The remainder means what's remaining. Okay? Could there be a remainder of 9 for this problem? Why or why not? Think about that for a second. Well, according to our check stage, the answer to our subtraction has to be smaller than our divisor. If you look over here, our divisor is 8. So everything that is the answer to the subtraction problem, which the remainder is, has to be smaller than 8. So no, 9 could not be the remainder. Okay, that just means we could fit another number up in the last section, and we haven't done our division right. Okay, what is the largest possible remainder when dividing by 8? Well, if it's got to be smaller than 8, we know that that is 7. The largest possible remainder is 7 left over. Because if we have 8 left over, we have a whole other group. Okay? What I want you to do now is I want you to, on a piece of paper or in your book, solve problem number 9. It will have a remainder. Do the work. Make sure your remainder is less than 5 when you're done. Pause your video and complete that. All right. Let me shrink this up here. Put her up in the corner again. All right, we've got the problem. 4,914 divided by 5. 5 does not fit into 4, but 5 fits into 49. Ooh. 10 times would be 50, so 9 times 5 is 45. Subtract, I get 4. Bring down the 1. 5 fits into 41 8 times. 8 times 5 is 40. Subtract, get 1. 1 is less than 5, so I can bring down again. Now 5 goes into 14. 5 goes into 14 2 times. 2 times 5 is 10. Subtract, I get 4. 4 is less than 5. I have no more numbers to bring down. So one of my options is to write this as a remainder. It is smaller than 5, so it's okay. So my answer is 982, remainder 4. Okay? If you have a remainder, just write it as a remainder up there. We'll learn about other ways we can use that remainder. What does that remainder mean? Well, let's go back to the cow problem. If this was 4,914 cows on the farm and the guy had 5 barns, how many could he fit in each barn? Well, 982 cows would fit in each barn evenly, and then there'd be 4 cows left over to distribute, which means 4 of the barns would have 1 more cow, or 1 more barn would have 4 more cows, or 4 cows would be left out in the cold. So that's how many cows are left over after we've divided them evenly. Okay. Now, we're going to jump now into, we're still doing long division. We did this problem earlier, if you remember. We did this problem at the beginning. Okay, I'm going to quickly solve it so we can see it again. It doesn't go into 3, 7 goes into 38, 5 times, 35, subtract, get 3, bring down the 2, 7 goes into 32, 4 times, that's 28, subtract, get 4, bring down the 2, of course we had to borrow here to do that. 7 goes into 42 6 times, 6 times 7 is 42, okay, and we get 0. Now, what if I took the same problem, and now it's the same numbers, but I've got a different something in there. a little something different. Go back to black here. Same numbers, but I'm going to put a decimal right there. How do I divide with a decimal in the dividend? Okay, well, the opposite of multiplication. Before, when I multiplied with decimals, I multiplied first and then put the decimal in the answer. Okay, and well, I shouldn't say opposite of, just like multiplication. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm not going to worry about the decimals to start. Okay, I might have to, if I have a decimal in the divisor, we're not there yet. This decimal is going to end up going in exactly the same spot. And then I just divide, okay? So just like I did before, you'll see division's exactly the same, but I'll do it in red this time. 7 does not go into 3, but it goes into 38 5 times. 5 times 7 is 35. The division is exactly the same. Bring down the 2. I ignore the decimal. It's not there. I already put in my answer. 7 goes into 32 4 times. 4 times 7 is 28. Subtract, and I get 4. Bring down the 2. 7 goes into 42 6 times. 6 times 7 is 42. So dividing with a decimal and a dividend is exactly the same, but I just put that decimal in the answer right in line where it was. That's all I got to do. If I only have a decimal in the dividend, I just plop it up there. Easy as that. All right, so here we have a problem, 20 and 25 hundredths divided by 3. This would be similar to having money as well. If you had $20.25 divided equally amongst three people, okay? And we simply put our decimal in the answer, right where it goes, and then we divide. 3 goes into 2, doesn't go into 2. 3 goes into 20 how many times? That would be 6 times. 6 times 3 is 18. Subtract. Got to borrow here. 10 minus 8 is 2. Bring down the 2. Don't have to do anything with the decimal now because I already put in the answer. 3 goes into 21 7 times. 7 times 3 is 21. Subtract. Get 1. Bring down the 5. 3 goes into 15 5 times. 5 times 3 is 15. Get 0, and I am done. $6.75 Bill's money, or 6 75 hundredths, is how you can divide 20.25 or $20.25 equally amongst 3 people. So the division doesn't change. You just put the decimal in the answer. All right, here we have another thing we might have to do. Sometimes when we divide, it won't come out evenly. It'll come out like we have a remainder. But there's a rule. When you're dividing with a decimal, you cannot have a remainder. You have to get it all the way to the end. What does that look like? Well, let's show you. Put my decimal in the answer. 2 goes into 6 3 times. 3 times 2 is 6. Subtract, get 0. Bring down the 6. 2 goes into 6 3 times. 3 times 2 is 6. Get 0. Bring down the 5. Now 2 goes into 5 2 times. 2 times 2 is 4. Subtract to get 1. Okay? There's nothing else to bring down, but I can't leave a 1 down there. When I'm dividing by decimals, I have to get that bottom number to 0. I have to keep dividing and subtracting until I get 0 as my answer. So I'm going to add a 0 up here and bring down a 0. Doesn't change the value of the number up top, but it gives me another number to divide by. Now 2 goes into 10 how many times? 5 times. 5 times 2 is 10. Subtract, and now I have 0. Okay? So all I did was add a 0 and bring it down so that I had the number 10 to divide by again. So when you're dividing by with numbers with decimals, you might have to add a 0 so you can get your subtraction answer to 0 at the end of the problem. All right. Let's try one of those. Turn to page 302 in your book and look down at the bottom. Now the problem we just worked, there's a problem right above problem number 19 that shows you another example of adding that 0 to divide. Okay? Go ahead and solve problem number 19. You might have to add a 0 to finish it. You might not. Pause the video, do number 19, and come back when you're done. All right. Let's see how this goes. Put my decimal right in my answer right away. 5 does not go into 1. 5 goes into 14. 2 times 5 is 10. Subtract. 4 minus 0 is 4. 1 minus 1 is 0. Bring down 1. 4 goes into 40. 5 goes into 41 8 times. 8 times 5 is 40. Subtract, I get 1. Bring down the 2. 5 goes into 12 2 times. 2 times 5 is 10. 12 minus 10 is 2. Not done. Got to add a 0 and bring it down. Now 5 goes into 24 times. 4 times 5 is 20. Subtract, and I get 0. Now that I have 0 at the end, I have nothing left to bring down. I'm done with my answer. 28 and 24 hundredths. All right, your homework is going to be practicing regular long division and long division with decimals. Sometimes you might have to add that 0 with the decimal, and sometimes you won't. It'll come out. You just keep dividing until you're done with numbers and you have 0 as your subtraction answer. All right, let's check. I'm going to be nice to you. We're going to have less problems, but more quality practice. Only homework pages for 712 and 1713, but I want you to do the odds. Okay? This is kind of a test, pre-test for MCAs too. If you don't know which ones are the odds, you need to find out because you need to know your odds from your evens. All right. Homework. 712, 713, only do the odds. That's going to be only a total of 14 total problems. Good luck.
I'm sorry, I'll try harder. My pleasure. My pleasure.